Hi, I'm the Moonlit Page Turner. Grab your treat, grab your tea, and let's talk books. For today's video, we are traveling to the country of Brunei. I've heard it pronounced multiple ways, so if you know how it's pronounced, go ahead and leave that in the comments below. At first I was like, okay, it's Brunei, and then I heard Brunei, so I'm gonna go with Brunei. It is a sovereign country, it is on the island of Borneo in Indonesia. It is another one of the British protectorates, and they gained their independence in 1984. So they became part of the British protectorate and the Commonwealth in 1888. They had some influences from China, and then during World War II as well, they were occupied by the Japanese. So in 1984, they have their full independence. So in like the 1950s and 60s, they started gaining some independence within the country, and then 1984, they are fully an independent country. And they are an Islamic sultanate, which means that they are ruled by the sultan. And with that, there are a lot of like Islamic influences, and so that will become important in our first book that we're going to talk about, which is The Witch Doctor's Daughter. I have two reads. Both of them are fiction. The Witch Doctor's Daughter will talk more about Brunei and kind of the influences. There's a lot of ethnic groups within Brunei, and so that is important in that book. The I'm Not Your Eve is actually about Tahiti, and it is about a real person from Tahiti. And so we'll see most of our influences from Brunei in our first choice, which is The Witch Doctor's Daughter. Before we get into this month's read, let's get into this month's treat. So this is mango, and this is a like coconut sticky rice. So you make the rice, and then you make like a coconut milk sugar mixture. On the top, it has some cornstarch to make it a little bit of like more of a sauce than a liquid. So I'm gonna dig right in. Oh, it's so good. And I will say I bought 4 mangoes for this recipe, and this is the last one because they've all been delicious. I love mangoes. That's a great treat. The first book that I'm going to talk about is The Witch Doctor's Daughter, and I read this one on my Kindle. So this is by Kathrina Daud, and she lives in Brunei still. She teaches at the university, and this is a coming-of-age story. We have our main character. Her name is Safaye, and that is not her original name. She had to change her name when her father converted the family to Islam, and that is an essential part in the story where she talks about the importance of names and what each name means and how they're connected to Islam. This also is the point where she starts looking at her father a little different. She sees him as a charlatan. Her mom has a special ability where she can see like spirits and jinn in particular, so like evil spirits, things that not necessarily fully evil, but like troublemaking spirits. Think like the genie in Aladdin kind of deal. And so her mother really tries to help people, and then her father comes in and kind of worms his way in to get some money out of it. So she does not respect her father at all. She does have a special love for her mother, but at the age, I think she's like 21, 22 in the book, she decides to go out and to see kind of what life is like for her. There's not a lot of opportunities. She did not finish high school. There is a whole part of here where it talks about education and the fact that people are leaving because there's not a lot of economic opportunities for kids, and their education system is not great. There's a university nearby that she'll end up going to as she starts to grow as a person. But she goes into what's called the Longhouse. And this is where she used to visit her grandmother, and in the Longhouse, they collect herbs and medicines, and so she'll go and learn about the culture of her people from that. And that really opens her eyes to the opportunities that she has. She meets a man named Jonah. He is an academic and he studies languages, especially languages that are kind of on the verge of extinction. And he documents them. And at first she's like, why is that important? You know, languages are shared, and if there's no one to share them, then they, of course they die, because that's the whole part of communication. But spending time with Jonah, she really sees kind of his point of view. There is a baby involved. It's not her baby. It's one of the people that Jonah is studying. And again, that sprouts her into a kind of adulthood and having her change her life. There is a little bit of a love triangle as well. In all, I really like this book. It was a good coming of age story, and it was a good introduction to what life is like in Brunei and kind of some of the different aspects of the different people, the different cultures, the different languages. So it was a good glimpse into the window, which I'm always looking for when I read these books. So I'm really glad I chose this book. I actually really liked it. It was really sweet. It moves pretty quickly, and I liked all the characters in it. The second book did not like so much. So this is I Am Not Your Eve, and this is by Devika Ponnambalam, I believe is how you say it. Again, I apologize if I mispronounced her name. This is the book about Tahamanana, who was the wife, I'm going to put wife in quotation marks. So she's a real person. She is from Tahiti. She was the muse and wife or bride of French painter Paul Gauguin. And she is featured in several of his paintings. There's a lot of controversy when it comes to this person and their relationship and the influence that he had on her as being an older man. It does get kind of talked about a little bit in the book. It's not a bad book. The reason why I didn't like it is because it's like short vignettes. So it's like 2 to 3 pages each. I couldn't tell who the point of view was. Sometimes you get Tahamanana's point of view. Paul's point of view is in there. Paul's wife, because he is married, back in France. And his daughter's point of view, as well as some like mythology and folk tales of the island of Tahiti. And so there's all of these stories that are kind of mixed together. They are somewhat chronological, so that was helpful, but it took me like half a page to figure out whose point of view I was experiencing and whose story it was, whether it was the daughter, the woman, Paul's. So that was really confusing. If you like kind of experimental writing and things like that, I think you might enjoy it. It was written well. It's just took me full out to be like, okay, what is happening and who's telling the story and what am I supposed to get from it? The story is really sad because we have it a little bit towards the back where she kind of talks about how old she might have been or might not have been. I had to go back and research her life a little bit, because she might have been 13, she might have been 15. I read an article from The Guardian that I'll link as well that says they found a birth certificate, but the time period that it is, I find that to be really doubtful. There's also the possibility that he gave her syphilis, but then in the article they talk about syphilis is kind of rampant on the island just because of the culture of the men, the white men coming in and having relations with the ladies on the island. And then what I didn't like about the article was that they're like, oh yeah, well the families gave their daughters to these people and they didn't get paid, but yet they were being taken care of by these men who were living in these huts and things like that. So there's a little bit of cultural sensitivity in that article when you look at it from the perspective of that this is a colonizing force that comes to the island, and there's not a lot to say about what happens, and then you have multiple kids that you might not be able to take care of, and so they're being taken care of these men, and they might take them with them or they might not. So in all, it's not a straightforward story. It's kind of, again, it's the vignette, so you get like a little glimpses here and there about what's actually happening. And so I was confused through half the book, because again, you have to figure out whose point of view it is and what story are they telling. But I do think that she's a great writer. It's just not my type of book, and so I didn't fully enjoy it. Hey, thanks for stopping by. Next month we are traveling to Bulgaria. If you are interested in what we've read in the past or what's coming up next, please visit us on Goodreads and Instagram. See you then.